Pokémon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX is a spin-off Pokémon game introduced back in the GBA era. This game is a remake of those first two games, Pokémon Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team. This one is actually quite special in the sense that it is the only Pokémon game not released on the same console, since Red Rescue Team is played on the GBA and Blue Rescue Team is played on the Nintendo DS. Back in the day I played a lot of Red Rescue Team. I did check the save file ahead, since I remember doing a lot in the post-game with Feraligatr. But it seems that I wiped that save file and only played through the regular game, sadly. Mystery Dungeon is without doubt my favorite Pokémon spin-off game, even though I never played a lot of the others. But this is also because I stopped playing Pokémon altogether after Platinum and started playing with Pokémon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which means I skipped the other Mystery Dungeon games. Over time I did buy Blue Rescue Team, Explorers of Sky and Explorers of Darkness, but I am still missing Explorers of Time, Gate to Infinity and Super Mystery Dungeon. I still want to add those to my collection and of course eventually play all of them, since I only remember playing a bit of Explorers of Sky. Apparently you can also play Red Rescue Team with Nintendo Switch Online, so if they ever make the others available with Nintendo Switch Online or with the remake, I will also play those without doubt. Now, before I actually start, I did play this one before, but to my memory it wasn't insanely far into the game, although I do have 34 hours, so I have no clue what it did to have this high playtime and not beating the main story yet. But we won't find out, because I will just start over again. At the start of the game you are prompted to answer a few questions. Regular questions you also get at the job interview, like: do others tell you to watch what you say? Do you like to noisily enjoy yourself with others? Or you are suddenly locked inside a pitch black room? What do you do? Well, I don't know. Cry? After answering all these questions very sincerely, the game will read out a few things you are most alike, like finding it hard to go to the washroom at night. The game gave me Cyndaquil. I could still choose another Pokémon if I didn't like it, but let's be real, who doesn't like Cyndaquil? For your partner you can choose freely from the start. I chose Totodile since EK his favorite starter is Totodile and Gen 2 is the peak Pokémon design. Did I already mention you should check out EK his channel for the most chill gaming playthroughs? No! Don't go to the light, you two are still too young. Well, we wake up in a forest, not knowing I was transformed into a Pokémon, meeting your partner to introduce you to each other. Since when is my name that funny? Sander is just some regular name to my knowledge. After the introduction, a Butterfree was screaming for help. A fissure opened in the ground and a Caterpie fell in. She wants us to help her since there are mean Pokémon attacking her if she tries to get close. This is the first mystery dungeon of the game. Every mystery dungeon has a set number of floors, but the layout is completely randomized, apart from this one time, which is used to tell you the basics. Even Totodile knows he is in a video game. Very smart, EK. The game is grid based, so we move to the right and defeat the first enemy we encounter with Amber. If you want to go to the next floor, you simply use the stairs. It's quite normal to see stairs in a random forest to go underground, just to be met with the same forest and same amount of sunlight. Apparently, the game has auto mode, but it stops whenever you encounter an enemy, so it's not something I will use throughout the game. Quickly afterwards we found and rescued the Caterpie, bringing it back to its mother. Following EK back to town, he showed us a place where we could live in. He immediately came back to business and proposed the idea of having a rescue team together. Since EK hadn't thought of a name yet, the game suggested the name Fluffes. Since I am very creative, I named our team Tubers. EK also gave us a scarf. Now we're even more adorable. After waking up the next morning, we stumbled upon EK being a hobo, scaring him while waking him up. Usually you will get mail in the mailbox every day with new missions to do, but this first time there is none apart from the rescue team starter kits to give us the basics. It's never nice to see EK being this sad after not receiving mail today. Sometime later the mail came in anyway, we were just up too early. Some Magnemite seemed to be in trouble. Moving quickly to Thunderwave Cave where we met the other Magnemites, whose friend is in trouble on floor 6. Usually you don't get this information beforehand, and you will have to guess how many floors the dungeon have. Of course, we can also look it up on Cerebi or Bulbapedia, but we won't be doing that. Moving quickly through the Thunderwave cave without any issues, we found the Magnemite on the 6th floor, rescuing them. They rewarded us greatly for our deeds. After every dungeon you went through, you go to bed, auto-saving the game and get well rested. Sometimes also getting fake dreams related to the main story. For this specific moment there didn't seem to happen a lot in our dreams. Your daily routine will always be checking the mail, at least when you are playing through the main story. I am not certain if you want to do it every time post-game, but we will figure that out soon enough. Now, going to the right side of our clubhouse, we will find the Pokemon Square. Lots of things you can do around here. For example, buying or selling items at the Kecleon's shop. Or using Persian's his money bank to store money, since you will lose all of your money and most, if not all, of your inventory if you died within a mystery dungeon. Now, this is the Gulping Link shop. When I was a kid, I always thought you could trade with your friends at the Gulping Link shop. Since my English wasn't perfect, it still isn't of course, and I linked the word link with link trade. But a few days ago, after watching some videos about Mystery Dungeon, I saw that you can link moves to use multiple at the same time. This is insanely strong if you ask me. Moving a bit to the left, we will see the Kangaskhan storage, where you can store all of your equipment you have found within the dungeons. The last one for now within the square is the dojo, where you can level up quickly with special dojo cards. If we move further to the right, we can reach the Pelipper post office, where there is a mission board for more generic non-story related missions. I accepted all the missions since I don't see a reason not to at the moment. When you go south from your team base, you can choose which mystery dungeon you want to go to. I chose Thunderwave Cave since we took 3 missions from the mission board earlier for this dungeon. Some missions, like I had here, are some sort of escort missions, where you need to bring the client to the front for any reason. Also, when arriving on a specific floor where you need to find someone, the game will tell you. It is also quite clear in the minimap where this Pokemon is within this dungeon. Sometimes just grabbing an item is enough. Those are usually the easiest missions. For the last mission within Thunderwave Cave, we must make sure Sunkern is next to Poochyena. In this specific case, I choose to move Poochyena elsewhere, as I thought it would just move Poochyena towards Sunkern. But no, it literally teleports Poochyena somewhere else on this floor. Who thought this was a great idea? I can't think of a reason why you would want to use this right now. But maybe I am missing something, or it's just not impossible for Pokemon to get stuck. After every completed mission, you get the option to leave the dungeon immediately or stay a little longer. Since I completed all the missions and I didn't want to do anything else here, I left the dungeon. When you complete one or multiple missions, you will get the victory-like screen, or however you want to call it. To my knowledge, you should also get badge points to upgrade your badge, since I remember needing certain ranks to progress the story. The next morning, after going outside, it felt like an earthquake what was happening, but it was some Diglett in the end. The Diglett was just digging around the Pelipper's post office, but ended up at our base. I used the tunnel and ended up at the post office as expected. From memory, this was not in the original Red and Blue rescue team. I double checked, and this feature was not in those games. I do like this small feature to speed up the process if you want to. Since nothing else unlocked, I went back to Thunderwave Cave for some more missions I accepted. The missions were done quite quickly without hassle, going back to our base. I got another dream, but this time there was an earthquake in the dream while I heard a voice. After waking up, someone was talking to me, but I couldn't see it. Apparently, it was a duck trio, hiding underneath our team base. It seems that their child was attacked and taken away from them. Since they cannot reach high in the mountains, they are asking us to help them. We explained everything to EK and we went to Mount Steel. Well, going into Mount Steel then of course, and looking around for a bit, we got hungry after about, 6 floors. Usually they want you to use an apple or two to raise your hunger bar back to full, but you can just switch characters and start using their hunger bar. Yours will not go up in the meantime, but it also will not go down. So this way you will be saving a bit of apples if you are low on those. It is also nice to see the different art when you go higher up in the mountains. It feels like this game, and especially the remake, got a lot of care when making the game. At some point my HP got quite low, but since the game recognized that your health is low, it will ask you if you want to sacrifice one of your teammates their turn to use a berry so you can heal up. Using an orange berry to heal you up also increases your maximum HP during this adventure. This makes it really strong if you struggle against a boss. You just have to save up some orange berries, use at least half of them before the boss, and you will have 2 or even 3 times the health you originally started with. After 8 floors in Mount Steel, we reach the summit, finding Diglett on the other side of the cliff, guarded by a Skarmory. Apparently, Skarmory is only doing this because of the earthquakes, but I don't think those are purely caused by Digletts and Dugtrios. Well, since Skarmory doesn't buy it, we had to fight it. Using a lot of Amber and Ice Fang, we got quite far, but he almost got me once, but due to our strength and courage, we won the fight, making Skarmory flee for now. Because we are not Pokemon that can fly, we were happy to see Magnemite followed us here to help Diglett get back to Dugtrio. Although, to be completely honest, can Diglett just dig down and flee from the Skarmory up there? Anyway, Diglett told us he has feet. That's one mystery out of the way. EK was very impressed by the Magnemite, so he asked them to join our rescue team. They agreed, but they didn't have a place to stay nearby. This is where the next feature comes into place, but we will talk about that in a minute when the game lets us show it. This time in our dream we saw a Gardevoir, uncertain what it means for now. After waking up, we went to Pokemon Square again to see Wigglytuff. At Wigglytuff you can buy plots of lands to give housing to your team members. This means if you happen to find a new teammate within the mystery dungeon, you can keep them forever and ask them to come with you for missions. The first 3 camps we will get for free. How convenient! The Wild Plains, Stamp Forest and Blue Sky Plains are unlocked. Since the Magnemite wants to join, we need a power plant, because Pokemon can only go to a specific camp. Wigglytuff also unlocked this one for free. There's a lot more we can unlock of course over time, but we will need some money to do that. Wanting to go back to our base, we stumbled upon Shiftry and some Nuzleaf in the middle of Pokemon Square. Jumpluff needs help and they do not want to help Jumpluff. Their reason for not helping? Exactly, pure greed. A moment later, Alakazam his rescue team showed up and told Shiftry his rescue team to help Jumpluff. Since they are much tougher, Shiftry obliged and ran away with the Nuzleaf. The Lombre next to us explained that his rescue team is one of the most famous one around here, since neither EK nor I have ever heard of them. They are apparently gold rank status, which must be a high rank, right? Alakazam did seem to sense something about me when passing by, but didn't want to share it with anyone yet. After seeing Alakazam, EK got hyped up to make a first class rescue team. But this Gengar has other plans it seems. If we go left from our team base, we can check out the camps we bought earlier. From memory you could just walk around the camps, but in this remake it seems you cannot and it only represented a picture of the camp. Which is a bit of a bummer in my opinion, but definitely not the worst. It would just be a nice touch I would say. When wanting to go on a mission again, Oddity Cave had unlocked. Since we have Magnemite as a team member now, we can select him. Or any other friend made in the menu just before entering a mystery dungeon. Now we have the option to befriend any Pokemon within these mystery dungeons. So I befriended the first Pokemon who wanted to be my friend. We can also see what camp Weedle likes to live in. Luckily, we got this one earlier for free. The difficulty seems to have bumped up a little bit. Pokemon all over the dungeon can easily bring me quite low, making Oddity Cave a real challenge for me at this point in time. Oddity Cave also changes its art multiple times when traversing floors. This could also be something in the original games, but I don't recall it changing this much in the original games. What I also noticed is the big red enemy. This really makes it look scarier from afar. The next floor even had 3 of those, so I figured I wanted to meet at least one of them to see what they are. It seems to be Onix, quite fair to make it this large. I also was not nearly dead or anything. After 8 floors I had finished the dungeon. Now we have the option to let Weedle stay in the camp or let it go. The next day I noticed I could rank up my team rank. So this would mean we can finally earn badge progress. The difficulty ranking from each mission indicates the amount of points you will earn. Let's do some F ranking difficulties to see how much we will get. Since I still had one mission for Tiny Woods, I wanted to complete that one to be able to accept more missions for the higher level dungeons. Some pretty you also wanted to join our team, but since we didn't have the right camp for it to stay in, it gave me a bit of Pokemon instead. The F-rated mission seems to give us 50 rescue points for our rescue team. This would mean we will have to do a total of 8 missions to rank up. After a nice well-rested night in our clubhouse, the Gengar from earlier and his mates approached us, mocking our base and stealing our mail full of rescue missions. You might wonder why they do this. I also wonder, but they are after world domination it seems. And that's all coming from a team called Meanies. Understandably so, EK was very sad that they took everything. But the good news is that Pelipper flew by with even more job offers. Here we also learn about the Wigglytuff Orb, which can be used within a dungeon to unlock multiple camps if you happen to befriend a Pokemon which requires a camp you haven't unlocked yet. So I went to Mount Steel to try it out, since I don't recall ever using that one in the original games, if it even had it implemented. This floor seems to have a Kecleon shop, which can spawn randomly on any floor. You can buy items from him while on an adventure. But you must not forget to pay, otherwise he and his friends will get very angry. I remember dying a lot by accidentally not paying for his items. I actually made quite a few friends while Mount Moon, and as you notice, they need Mount Discipline and Magnetic Quarry to be able to stay forever. After being done with all the missions here, I left the dungeon, thinking I would get a prompt to use the Wigglytuff Orb to enable those camps. Which it didn't. It seems that you need to use the items before you leave to unlock these camps. Well, that's a real bummer for me this time, since I had quite a cool Pokemon with me. At least we still got a few friends who could stay and ended up with 200 points, being halfway to the next rank. The next morning, Caterpie came by who needed our aid. He was telling us about his friend Metapod, who got lost in the woods, while the Meanies overheard us. Gengar wants to race to who rescues Metapod first to claim the prize, but Caterpie doesn't have any money, so Gengar probably has other plans if they rescue the Metapod first. Since we do not have such low standards and are not the Meanies, we will do our best to rescue Metapod before Gengar and his teams get there. Going into Sinister Woods, where Metapod should be, we already almost died on the first floor. This is going to be rough. This time we will not forget to use the Wigglytuff Orb beforehand. So we unlocked the one required for Sudowoodo. The orb does seem to disappear once used, so I should have used it a bit later into the dungeon where I might have befriended more Pokemon. My hunger bar was quite low, so I switched to EK, also remembering the perks of being a water or flying Pokemon in certain dungeons. If the enemy is unable to cross the waters, you can flee from them this way or just regen a bit of health. But you must be aware that your team might drift off if they cannot follow you. Whenever you set foot on land again, they will try their best to use the quickest route to get back to you. We made a lot of friends in here. In fact, we made too many. The maximum party size is 8 in the remake, where it was 4 in the original game. I have no clue if it was ever raised in one of the other mystery dungeons or that it stayed 4 until this game. I told Magnemite to leave, since he was our friend already anyway, so we won't lose a spot for an extra team member or a bit of money at the end of the dungeon. After 12 floors we found the Meanies, challenging us to battle. The only thing they forgot is that we made a lot of friends on our way here. So luckily the battle was insanely easy because of this, and they ran away. Metapod seemed to be waiting behind a tree during the battle, so glad we found him before the Meanies did. Most could stay at the camp, while only Hoothoot seemed not to be able to. Could be worse, I would say. The next morning Jumpluff approached us at our team base. This is because Shiftry should be helping Jumpluff, but he and his team haven't returned yet, so Jumpluff wants us to search for them and his friend. Before we venture off to help Jumpluff, I made sure to unlock as many camps as possible for new friends. Since I couldn't buy them all, I prioritized the ones I already seen Pokemon for first. The Silent Chasm is where Jumpluff, its friend, and Shiftry should be. So I made the perfect team and I didn't choose Linoone just because he's almost like 2 times the levels of everyone else. Just before entering, Jumpluff wanted to share one last thing. There are rumors that there is a monster sleeping around here. Shocked by the news, EK suddenly got ill and assumed we would back him up by also stating we have a stomach ache. Of course, the great friend we are, I answered very confused that I am perfectly fine. EK didn't seem to like my honest answer. Again, we got the information where Jumpluff should be in the Silent Chasm, around floor 10. It seems that the Mystery Dungeon series also has adapted the experience share for everyone, even non-party members. I don't mind it that much, it makes switching out team members easier. Maybe we'll switch out Linoon again after this one. Going a bit deeper into the dungeon, we made a few friends, like Dustox, Weedle and Larvitar. When walking around the area, I accidentally talked to Linoon, which seems to have some questionable lines. I made a small mistake. I died. From memory, if either of the two main team members dies within the main story, you get teleported out. But it seems that is not the case in the remake. I can just happily go on with EK. And literally in the next room we find a tiny reviver seed. Sadly we cannot use it after Cyndaquil has perished. I might want to go to the dojo soon to train up a little bit, since Weedle also died here. Although we did find an extra Dustox and Phanpy immediately afterwards. I almost wiped half of our party with stepping on this trap. Reaching floor 10 a moment later, Cyndaquil suddenly revived and we found the other Jumpluff. Well, she was worried about Shiftry. He told us to get away, but it seems we were a bit too late for that. Looking at the thunderclouds and hearing that bird sound, it could only be one Pokemon, Zapdos. Zapdos got angry because it thinks Shiftry disturbed its sleep. Did Zapdos just turn Shiftry into ashes? No, he did not. But to save Shiftry we must get to Mount Thunder. Let's be honest, that face of Totodile is golden. Finishing the mission, we got to keep most friends we made, apart from Phanpy, which I would love to have the most out of the few friends we made. When talking about Zapdos a bit later at our base, Alakazam his team heard us talking about him. He told us Shiftry did not wake up Zapdos, but it was merely the trigger. Since all the natural disasters going on lately, Zapdos was already on the breach of waking up. EK really wants to get to Mount Thunder to deal with Zapdos, but since my stomach hurts so much... What are you on about, EK? You started this! We will both move to Mount Thunder to save Shiftry. Alakazam told us they need some time to prepare and so do we, since we could use a few levels and maybe I should use the move link for this one. But if you want to see us save Shiftry in Mount Thunder and you want to know what lies beyond the mysteries of Zapdos, make sure to subscribe to my channel. What do you think about Mystery Dungeon? Or what is in your opinion the best Pokemon spin-off game? Make sure to share your thoughts in the comments. And also don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video of course. And I hope I see you all in the next one. Bye bye!